As a person with a lifelong love for music and who spends far too much time in front of a computer screen all day listening to things, I've come to consider headphones almost a permanent fixture on my head. Keeping that in mind, the overall quality of the headset I'm using is absolutely a concern of mine, and I've blown through plenty of them ranging from bare bones to quite luxurious over the years, settling into my preferences. My current love is the wired Razer Black Shark V2, but not everyone else may have the means or desire to go that route. Considering that I don't tend to prefer wireless Bluetooth headsets, I'll admit that I was happy to hear the new Pro controller for Switch 2 would include a headphone jack. Adding that to the ones on the Switch and Switch 2 already, that further opens the door to wired headsets also being practical for playing at the couch on your TV, and all hopefully be less finicky and a little more affordable on average than Bluetooth headsets. No doubt seeking to heed the call from parents, or maybe grandparents, everywhere, trying to find something both reliable and affordable for their kids to use and abuse as they play their games without making a ton of noise. Turtle Beach has hit the ground running with the budget-minded Airlite Fit headset. While it may not win awards in any particular category ranging from comfort to overall sound quality against pricier competitors, it will absolutely blow away its average competition at a price point coming in below $30. The first thing you'll notice as you take it out of the box is the very Switch-oriented branding, sporting the red and blue colors from the original launch system. That does immediately make a strong impression, and while it doesn't sport LED lighting, the colors will absolutely grab a little attention. There's no doubt that the headphones are on the lighter end of the spectrum, and the all-plastic frame doesn't necessarily scream durability, but considering its pricing, that also seems entirely appropriate. In terms of fit and comfort, as someone with a pretty large head, I was happy that they fit me well enough to be workable. They adjust easily at the top, and seem like they should be accommodating for players with big melon heads like mine down to smaller children. A definite plus is that while the ear cups don't quite adjust as much as I would have liked, they were able to fit reasonably over my ears. I did notice that though the ear pads look comfortable, they were a little less functional for me than I'd have hoped, but once the headphones were in place they did feel reasonably comfortable. In particular, I was glad that the pressure keeping them on my head was enough to keep them stable, but not so much that it could start to get uncomfortable, which is a problem I've run into with some other products in this space before. When it comes to sound quality, there's a mix of good and not so good to be sure. I would characterize the sound in general as a bit on the muddy side, with perhaps a little too much bass that tends to dominate. For people who prefer to crank the bass, this may actually be a plus, but since you're unable to adjust it, I'd consider it a bit out of balance. The good news is that outside of that I was pleasantly surprised by the sound quality as a whole. It won't take on headsets more than double its price, but considering some of the junk I've bought in this unit's price range over the years, it does a great job. I will say that even at max volume it doesn't get cranking too loud, but for parents that may actually be a selling point. One surprise is that I have discovered that the sound coming from the Switch Pro Controller 2 headphone jack isn't the greatest quality, something I confirmed by using more than one headset with it. At first I was concerned with the sound from this unit struggling with quality, but the headphone jack made everything I owned sound worse than when coming through my capture card. For me it was a relief, and I include it here as a warning to potential buyers to not jump to any conclusions if you plug this into that jack and are disappointed with the results. Finally, the included microphone is about what you'd expect. A bit on the quiet side, with a somewhat tinny overall sound profile, but still adequate for getting the job done. The fact that you can flip it up to turn it off is a nice and convenient touch, but I would have some durability concerns for anyone who isn't consistently careful with their gear, since the plastic hinge on it will likely only be able to endure so much abuse over its lifetime. All things considered, this may not be the premium headset you'll want if you've got disposable income on your side and will be wearing them for hours on end, but for the asking price it's pretty hard to beat. Budget headsets generally feel more like they're made to be disposable, which can be appropriate if they're being used by kids in particular, but this proves that doesn't necessarily mean you need to completely sacrifice quality in the process. Overall, my final score for the game ended up being an 8. And if you're interested in picking it up, it is set to start being available as of September 3rd on the Turtle Beach website, as well as retailers like Amazon and others, for $27.99. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this review. And if you'd like more information or ideas of indie games worth checking out on the Switch or the Switch 2, be sure to click on the link provided in the description. Until next time.